Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today, I'm going to be doing my weekly wrap-up for the week ending Saturday, October 11th. This week, I finished reading a wonderful new novel, Starlight and Moonshine, by BookTube's own Joseph O'Malley from the channel Too Tight Lautrec. I'm going to be posting a separate review video on this novel in the coming week, but I did want to just talk about it a little bit in today's wrap-up. Joseph O'Malley is an extraordinarily talented writer whose depiction of family dynamics in the face of real tragedy is psychologically accurate and astute and profoundly moving. This novel tells the story of the Fallon family in the wake of the death of Hannah Fallon, wife, mother, and sister-in-law, in a drunk driving accident caused by her drunk driving. The novel comprises a series of chapters told from the point of view of different family members, including Hannah's husband, her three young adult children, Mary, Colleen, and Jack, and her painfully annoying and overbearing sister-in-law, Addie. This is exactly my kind of family saga, which is both a depiction of long-standing family conflicts and rivalries, and also an authentic portrayal of family love and grief. The story is told with a great deal of pathos and also at times with absolutely wonderful humor. I'm going to have more to say about this novel in an upcoming review video, but I just wanted to make a brief mention of it in today's wrap-up and to recommend it unequivocally. I loved this book. Now, for VICTOBER, and also for Angelia at Read and Reread for her endless drama group, I reread this week Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest, which is, I think, my very favorite play by Oscar Wilde. This is a farcical comedy of manners about two young men leading double lives. They take on false identities in order to evade social obligations. Both men, Algernon Moncrief and Jack Worthing, are also pursuing love interests under false identities. Each one, at one time, pretends to be someone named Earnest. It's impossible to talk about the plot of this play in a way that makes sense without giving too much away. But in short, Algernon is visited by a man named Ernest Worthing, who is really visiting because he hopes to propose to Algernon's cousin, Gwendolyn Fairfax. Algernon will not consent to the marriage until his friend explains why his cigarette case is inscribed, quote, "From little Cecily to her dear Uncle Jack." Eventually, Worthing admits that he is living a double life, that his niece believes him to be named Jack or John, but that he pretends to have a wastrel of a brother named Earnest who lives in London, whom he must tend to from time to time. This is actually nothing more than a ruse to allow him to escape from obligations in the country and go to the city. Once in London, he then assumes the identity of Earnest. Algernon then admits that he too carries on a similar deception by pretending to have a sick friend in the country named Bunbury, whom he visits from time to time, mostly when he wants to avoid unwelcome social engagements or other obligations. Now, to add to the absurdity of all of this, Jack proposes to Gwendolen, who says that she can only accept his proposal because his name is Earnest, because, quote, her ideal has always been to love someone of the name of Earnest. There is something in the name that inspires absolute confidence, close quote. Gwendolen's mother, the formidable Lady Bracknell, will not hear of her daughter marrying Earnest, however, because she learns that he was adopted, having been found in a handbag deposited at Victoria Station in London when he was an infant, and she forbids him to have any further contact with her daughter. That's all I'm going to say about the plot. Wilde is satirizing the Victorian emphasis on social class determined by birth and also attitudes toward marriage. He also highlights the ridiculousness of Gwendolen's determination to marry someone named Earnest, and also the absurdity of her mother's refusal even to consider anyone as a partner for her daughter who isn't of noble birth. There are all kinds of plays on the word earnest, Earnest the name, and earnest as an adjective describing a quality. Being earnest, as in serious, determined, or eager, is not nearly as important in the world of this play as being named Earnest, which obviously means absolutely nothing. Wilde also satirizes the marriage plot so common in Victorian literature, novels and plays, where the end game is always supposed to be a successful marriage. There are many roadblocks to successful marriages in this play, most of them total absurdities getting in the way of people being together. It's an absolutely absurd, farcical play in which Wilde pokes gentle fun at most aspects of Victorian society, and it is an absolute delight. I also read this week for VICTOBER in its entirety, Victorian poet Alfred Lord Tennyson's most famous poem, In Memoriam. This is a long poem in 133 small parts or cantos. This poem, written in iambic tetrameter, is an elegy written in response to the death of Tennyson's dear friend Arthur Henry Hallam, a friend from his Cambridge days and also the fiancé of one of Tennyson's sisters. Hallam died at the age of 22 of a cerebral hemorrhage. In the course of this long poem, we follow the poet's meditations on his dear friend as he moves through grief. The poet moves slowly from a state of abject despair at the untimely demise of his dear friend through a period of profound doubt about faith and the meaning of life, if one as good as Hallam could be taken so cruelly, eventually to a position of acceptance and even renewed faith and hope that he will once again see his beloved friend in the afterlife. This was a perfect poem to read for VICTOBER, as it is considered one of the poetic masterpieces of the age, and it is also one of Queen Victoria's favorite poems. I am continuing my small group read of Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary. And this is a book that I am reading with Alan at Alan's Reads, Gareth at Books, Songs, and Other Magic, Mariandrea at Books and Bocadillos, and Lectin at Reading from the Depths. We are 20 chapters into the book now, with 10 more chapters to go in the coming week. I'm enjoying the novel. I think it's a lot of fun. It's one that I think I would have loved to try to teach had I ever had the opportunity to teach a science fiction elective. I think kids would have loved this book. This is the story of Ryland Grace, the sole survivor of a desperate mission to save the Earth and the human race from annihilation. I'm most interested in this book in the relationship that is developing between our hero and protagonist, Ryland Grace, and a strange alien that he encounters and names Rocky, who is simultaneously trying to save his planet and his species as well. We will be discussing this book again later today, and I will have more to say about it next week when our group finishes the novel and our conversations about it. I'm also continuing to read for VICTOBER Anthony Trollope's novel, Barchester Towers. This is a buddy read with my friend Jack at Spread Book Joy. We are now 18 chapters into the novel and having a wonderful time reading it. We both keep asking where Trollope has been all of our lives, because we hadn't read any Anthony Trollope until this past May when we read The Warden together. Jack and I read about 3 chapters a day, and then we share our thoughts with each other in a Voxer chat. Thus far, we have re-met some of our old friends from the first book in the series, The Warden, especially our dear Mr. Harding and his daughters. But we've also met a whole new cast of characters who introduce all kinds of conflict into the world of Barchester. I can easily see this series becoming something of a comfort read for me. I love the world that Trollope has created and all of the personalities with which he has populated this world. I'm also continuing to read my book group's pick for this month, and that's Sally Rooney's novel, Intermezzo. This is the story of 2 brothers, Ivan, aged 22, and his older brother, Peter, aged 32, and how they are dealing with grief in the aftermath of their father's death. Ivan, a socially awkward former chess prodigy, begins a relationship with the significantly older Margaret, who is a 36-year-old arts program director that he meets at a chess tournament. Peter is a successful Dublin attorney, and he's juggling 2 relationships. One with the very young Naomi, who's only 22 or 23, and his ex-girlfriend, Sylvia, a 32-year-old English professor. I haven't read anything else by Sally Rooney. This is my first of her novels, and I am told that this is her most mature work to date, and also the most experimental stylistically. It is a pretty compelling read right now, but I'll say more about this after my group has had a chance to meet and to talk about it. I haven't read anything this week for Occult Detective October, which I am participating in, but I hope to get back to it next week after I wrap up Project Hail Mary. This week, I completed my series of Q&A videos marking the 5K subscriber milestone, which turned out to be 4 videos long. And I thank everyone who sent me questions and who stuck with me, with the videos where I responded to everyone's questions. I also did Gareth's new tag. I did a tag video on A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I did my usual Poetry Thursday video, and now this wrap-up video. So that's it for this week. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.